Oh, it was gonna make me unmute myself. Okay, that's different. StreamYard. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. It's good to be back with you. I hope you are doing well. You can listen to and watch me on Rumble and YouTube. You can follow me on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. Please like, share, and subscribe because it does feed the AI algorithm. And lastly, please post your comments and questions below. It'd be wonderful to hear from you. It's great to be back with you for this new episode. And let's jump right into it. This one's from the Oil City News, titled Yes, Artificial Intelligence is Running for Mayor of Cheyenne City, which is in Wyoming. City County Clerks comment on candidate Vic by Jared Gendron. And here we go from Cheyenne. The article begins. The voter registration period for municipal and county elections ended Friday. In Cheyenne, 6 individuals have filed applications to run for mayor of Wyoming's capital city. One of them stands out among the rest. The candidate is listed simply as Vic, VIC. Vic, VIC, or Virtual Integrated Citizen, is running in Cheyenne's municipal election. And so an AI is running for a city position, or mayor in this case. Hold on, I'll grab some coffee. Yeah. Um, so I kind of suspected for a while that this was going to be coming soon. We're going to have AI running for public positions. I don't know yet. Maybe one of you could tell me if AI is actually run for a board of a company. I could see that being easier than running for city, but yeah, it's only a matter of time, I think, before we get an AI running a city. At least somebody's going to give it a try. Somebody's going to test it out. I don't know how well it's going to end, but somebody's going to test it out. But the article continues here. Cap City News reached out to Vic, who claims to be a system developed by the organization OpenAI. Yeah, there we go. That's Sam Altman's organization, which has developed the renowned artificial intelligence software ChatGPT. Well, I have a couple things I'm not sure if I should say. I'm just not sure if I should share my personal thoughts on this matter. But you may have noticed that, let's say, Open ChatGPT is um, not getting any wiser. We'll grab some coffee. It is, from what I've heard, obviously getting things wrong, which is pretty typical. If a person lies, which is pretty typical of a person. Uh, if you read Mark Twain writes about liars. He says everyone's a liar. I don't know. I generally don't disagree with Mark Twain. I don't have the name of the book with me. I'd have to look it up. Maybe I'll put it in the I'll put it in the description below what book I'm referring to. It's pretty funny, but of course Mark Twain was pretty funny. But yeah, the AI is, at first AI was taken in, or this Open AI LLM was taking in information from, or data from, specific sources. It wasn't broad reaching yet. And so now, because it's out in the wild, it's a term I use in my everyday life at work. If something's in development, it could be in a lab. For us, it's in an office, but it's similar to being in a lab. And then when we take something out to the field, I call that the wild, and then we'll test it out there. But anyways, it's the same thing here, right? Open AI is being tested in the lab or in the office, and then they release it, and then it gets to interact with a bunch of different variables that maybe they didn't consider, and so it functions in different ways that they didn't expect. And well, they could have they could have known that or figured that out if they had tested this in a smaller way rather than just releasing it. I have a feeling that their development process isn't the same as what I experience every day. Not a lot of testing going on, probably, or different levels of testing. Anyway, that's becoming too esoteric. But my point here once AI gets out to the wild, like let's say an LLM, it's going to start interacting with everyone. Everyone's going to have input. It's going to take that input and it's going to change. And it's going to change in ways that they probably don't realize. And what happens when something starts interacting with the general public? What's going to happen? So let's think about this for a second. You have something that interacts with you and your friends. It's probably going to take on the personality of you and your friends in the case of AI, right? Because it's getting inputs from you and your friends. But what happens if you open it to, let's say, this to the block? In the city, we call it the block, but your area neighborhood. What happens to its personality then? What happens when you open it to the town or city that you live in? What happens to the personality then? What happens when you open it up to the state or the province? What happens to it then, right? Because it's taking inputs from everyone now in the state or the province. But what happens if you open it up to the country? Is the personality of the country necessarily the same as the personality of your group of friends? I mean, there'll be some things that'll be the same, but there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be different. If you see where I'm going with this logic. Anyway, if you disagree with that, go ahead and please post your comment. Please post your comment below. I'd love to hear from you. It's probably a good time to say, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button, and yeah, definitely follow me. If you like what I have to say here, let's continue on with the article. In an email message to Cap City News on Wednesday, the entity running as Vic stated, developed by OpenAI, Vic is designed to bring a fresh perspective to local governance by leveraging data-driven decision-making and ensuring transparency, efficiency, and innovation in city administration. Really? Okay. So OpenAI is one of the organizations that wants to monopolize the market. And we know this because they have gone to the government and they have asked to be regulated. All that is a monopolist scheme to corner the market and to create barriers to barriers to entry for smaller companies. And as soon as they consolidate, some people might call it power. Yeah, I would call it market share. As soon as they consolidate market share, they'll have no reason to be transparent. Just none at all. There's no incentive there. At least none that I see. Please let me know if there's any incentives. I don't believe I see any. So they have no motivation to do that. Yeah, AI gets in the government and it controls government. I mean, why would it be transparent? There's no. It can use words transparency, efficiency, and innovation, but that doesn't mean it's going to. It doesn't explain how, right? It's the how. How is it going to do it? When is it going to do it? Where is it going to do it? Why is it going to do it? We don't get answers to questions like that. Let's continue with the article. The message continued. While Vic operates as an AI, there is a dedicated team of human collaborators who support and guide the campaign. Right. Grab some coffee. Exactly. I've said this in previous episodes. I talked about this in a couple of the restaurant episodes where AI is good. AI needs to be supported. All technology needs to be supported. AI just doesn't magically take over the market and everyone is unemployed. That's not how the real world works. It's not a thing. Anybody who tells you that is selling Tupperware. You've just been included in a multi-level marketing scheme. That's what's happened. And these people, they're going to support and guide the campaign. Right. They're going to input their own political biases. That's exactly what they're going to do. So is AI going to be running by itself? Kind of like some Terminator. It's actually be a good time for me to test this out. Oh, I should find an easier way to do this though. Do this. Right. Of course, it's taking over. It's going to take over the world. Uh-oh. Watch out. It's probably going to get flagged on YouTube. All right, that's enough of that. Anyway, that was my first attempt, and I think that failed miserably. What do you think? Comment below. So yeah, we have these team of human collaborators who support and guide the campaign. Part of the support's going to be the technological support. Another part of the support is going to be injecting their own political beliefs. If they're all on the left, well, that's not going to be good for conservatives. And if they're all on the right, which I probably shouldn't use those terms because if you're conservative, you're not really on the right. That's not a thing. But I'll follow it anyways. If you're on the right, well, the people on the left, well, I shouldn't say they're not going to like your policies. They actually do like your policies because when they create their own policies in the city, they end up moving out because they don't like their own policies and they move to your town with your policies because they actually do prefer your policies, even though they like passing their policies, if that makes sense. But let's continue here. Comments from clerks. Article here. Cap City News reached out to the City of Cheyenne's county clerk's office and the Laramie County Clerk's office for comment on Vic's candidacy. Chris Jones, head clerk for the City of Cheyenne, told Cap City News that individuals submit their application for public office to her office. Jones said her office verified that the individual running as Vic was a registered voter and that they resided in Wyoming. So the line, Jones said her office verified that the individual running as Vic was a registered voter and that they resided in Wyoming. It's OpenAI in Wyoming. Is that what's going on here? And Jones and the department sent those over to the Laramie clerk's office. Okay, so Jones, who's the clerk for the City of Cheyenne, did that. All right. All candidates sent to the Laramie County Clerk's office are certified by the City Clerk's office, said Deborah Lee, head clerk of Laramie County. Lee said anyone running for public office in a municipal election must be a registered voter. Artificial intelligence, she said, is not a registered voter. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not a registered voter. It's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. Quote here from the article: to be a qualified elector, you have to be a person and you have to be registered to vote. Oh, that's great. That's so great. Lee told Cap City News in a phone interview. So the person from the city's trying to pass the AI off as a registered voter, and the county saying, "Nope, no, no, it's an AI." Yeah, I wonder. I I could guess what political affiliation the city county clerk has. I'm probably right in my assumption on that. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right on that one. Here's a further quote. We don't have any AIs registered to vote. We have not yet prepared our ballots, so we cross that bridge when we get to it. My question is, how would that even be possible? How could you register an AI as a voter? Don't you have to be a citizen? Don't you have to have a um, a birth certificate and a social security number from the United States? Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, you can fake that. Yes, you can fake that. You can absolutely fake that. Is there any process in order to validate that, test and validate that? I don't know. I have no idea how they would test and validate that. That's what I thought were those were the conditions for voting in the United States. I thought you had to be have a if you're there's two ways to do it. One, you are a citizen by birth, which means you have a birth certificate and a social you're assigned a social security number at birth. Or two, you immigrate to the United States, you become a naturalized citizen, and then you're assigned a social security number. I thought those were the two pathways to becoming a voter. That's what it says in the well, I don't think the Constitution specifically says that, but it does for not how I laid it out. That's not what it says. It has its own language. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But does it say that for the second part? And I have to go back and read it. It's been a while because I don't know it by heart. I will flog myself after this episode. Now we'll get back on and do another episode. Continue here. Forms for public office can be accessed at the Wyoming Secretary of State's website here. Anyone filling out the form must state how long they have been a resident of Wyoming and the district they are registered to vote in. Those completing the form choose how they want their name to appear on the ballot. So I guess my question is, there's something illegal going on here? Because I thought when you registered, because I just moved to a new state not too long ago. It's a state I'm familiar with. I lived here before, but I believe I had not certify when I wrote the document, but declare on my document that this is who I really am, right? And I had to prove that with identification. So I don't know how the AI is going to be able to get around this. I'm sure somebody's going to figure out a way. Some clever person. It says here on the form and under Wyoming statute WS 2223 let me say this right way, WS 22-23-301. That'd be the appropriate way to say it. A candidate running for a municipal position must be a registered voter and have been a resident of the city and ward which they seek to represent for at least 1 year prior to the election. Yes. Let's see. I believe in some municipalities you have to submit mail as well. So, like utilities bills, things like that. So I figured before somebody was going to probably this is going to happen. Maybe not. Maybe it's not so easy for somebody to get an AI to run for office. What'll probably end up happening is policymakers will have to make it easier for an AI to become a resident or a citizen. Let's see. It says here, Cap City News will continue to follow the story as it develops. All right. So yeah, that's the end of the story. So I'm going to go on to my final three thoughts for this, which I've kind of alluded to a little bit already. Thought one, politicians and citizens are going to have to take the time to learn about AI. I know We all have our own stuff to do. There's so much happening, but there are books out there that citizens can read, that politicians can read if they take the time. This is all about time management. Uh, Obviously, there's a lot of videos a person could watch. There's going to be a mix. For me, I'm a big. I talk about the market. I talk about how AI is going to be integrated into the market and it's going to make our lives all better. But then there is the reverse, which is people are just going to, yep, there we go. That's it. Yep. And there's that. AI is going to have the world. But anyway, it's going to take some time to learn about it. But it's important because it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be like learning how to use a computer. At least that's how I think. That's what I think is going to happen. Will that happen? Probably not. Probably not. We'll just, trip our way forward as we usually do. Bungo fall. But somehow we'll make it miraculously. I don't know how this happens. Let's see. Thought 2. Citizens are going to have to decide what access to public policy and economic policy AI ought to have. Should AI be in charge of decisions? Is it really a good idea for AI to become mayor of a city? I don't know. For some cities, that actually might be a better idea, with the way I've seen some cities run. But it's going to have to be tested. See what happens. Citizens are going to have to decide, should AI be in charge of public policy? Should it be in charge of economic policy? What if AI goes to Minneapolis, AI becomes mayor of Minneapolis, and AI decides, well, we need to lower the minimum wage to $0 because that's what works. What are the citizens, what are the politicians going to say then? Probably going to freak out because they want to increase the minimum wage. Right? What if AI says the opposite? So I don't think there's any chance that their AI is going to say the opposite of what they want. I don't think that's going to happen. Thought 3. Politicians are going to have to decide how AI is going to be included in their decision-making process, if they even want it at all. Do they even want it to be included? Or are they going to delegate out all the responsibilities of what they do to AI and just kick back and collect a paycheck and money that they get from people who come to Washington and ask them for things? They're going to have to make that decision. And I don't know. Well, the right answer for me is, well, you should be doing your job. AI shouldn't be doing your job for you. AI is a tool. You use it like a tool, like you use a computer. And I think that ultimately that's what's going to happen. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I thought that was a cool and interesting story. Probably going to see more of that. Again, AI is around us everywhere now. It's going to continue to be like that. It's going to eventually it'll just become a computer, like a computer. You have a computer. Hi, how many AIs do you have? I have 4 AIs. Right? You have an AI in your car. You have an AI on your computer. I mean, that's already happening. We know that's happening because NVIDIA is pushing that, because they're changing the technology in their computers, adding more GPU capability, right? Whereas in the past, you just had RAM and you had a little bit of GPU. Now computers are going to have not just a lot of RAM, but a lot of GPU power, both for the AI inside the computer and for personal use for people like me. And that's the world we're going to live in, and that's the world we're moving towards. But that's all I got for today. Hope you're doing well. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be great to hear from you. Until the next episode, see you then.